Oh, it is finally here. Now, I have been binging this past month in anticipation for The Last Kingdom Season 5. Now, the hype is huge for me, but did it deliver? Years have passed since the events of the last season, and King Edward is still forging ahead with his ambitions to unite the Saxon Kingdoms to fulfill Alfred's dream. Although a long-standing peace between Danes and Saxons now exists, the harmony is under threat. Uhtred has been entrusted with protecting Edward's illegitimate son, the future King of England, Aethelstan, but the treacherous Lord Ethelhelm has ambitions for his grandson Ethelward, Edward's other son, to rule. So this season is tragic and awesome and epic all at once. And just like in the previous seasons, you can't be too attached to people because the show just likes to hurt them. Now, Season 4 ended with Breda pledging revenge, so we know that at some point it's going to come to a head this time. Also at the end of Season 4, Ethelflaed is on the throne of Mercia, and there are still some wild tensions between her and Edward. Sihtringer and Stiora are in Eferwich, and somewhere Ethelhelm is whispering havoc to just anybody who's going to be able to help him gain more power and then place his grandson on the throne. The season opens with a pretty foreboding scene that then sets the tone for pretty much the whole season. Treachery and revenge are massive themes that have been throughout the series, but they're especially powerful in this one. So if you're looking for battles, you are not going to be disappointed because there are more than a few, and the absolute insanity that comes from them is spectacular to watch. And just like in previous seasons, the camera gets us right into the middle of the fray, and I was on the edge of my seat through several different fights. You can feel the energy that's coming from the situation. I mean, it's adrenaline pumping and anxiety inducing because the chaos is just immersive. Now, there's one battle, and I think it takes place like in episode 3, that is so frenetic and harried that I was almost gasping as it was happening. The scene continues to build on the anxiety, also by then bringing in new story complications as the minutes go by. You can just feel the dread of some of the actions, but then they're already in motion, so it doesn't seem like anything other than death is going to stop it at all. And as crazy as that battle is, there are still more to come, with one being extremely pressured and tense. The excitement is just cranked up to 11, and my butt was hurting after because I was clenched up from all the stress. The cinematography continues to be wonderful, and I love some of the small things that the camera will focus on to really set the stage and then put us into that story. There are many times where a shot will start out like aimed at the ground to focus on maybe a horse's leg or people's feet as they trudge through the mud, and then it will pan up to show us the rest of the scene. This is really useful in establishing the feel for a location. Now sure, we can just look up at the sky and see that it's all gray and rainy, but there's just something about seeing the small and almost inconsequential parts that help to draw me in ways that I don't even realize. The character dynamics are also incredibly powerful this season. We know that Uhtred gets along with just about everybody, but in a very strained way. I mean, he rubs everybody sideways, but he's still so charismatic that people can't help but love him. And his interactions with Edward are just so maddening. Ugh. I mean, just like they were when he would interact with Alfred. But there's the addition of the impatience of youth that's in Edward that just makes how he behaves with Uhtred all the more frustrating. The show also gives us some really great moments that Uhtred gets to share with the characters as they spend time together. And that kind of makes it sound like they go for a walk through a flowery field, but it's just that there are times, even if they're brief, when Uhtred and another character will get to have some dialogue that is moving and powerful. And I like that characters that maybe we haven't seen for a little while, they pop up here and there, which is great when they're characters that I enjoy, like Hild. And then there are a few characters that get a massive redemption arc, and the fact that the story purposefully includes these, I think, is wonderful. While someone may have been a villain, their path and opportunity for change mirror that of Uhtred, and throughout the story he is flawed, but he gets so many chances to redeem his actions. Now I guess I could complain that this season is packed with storylines and characters, but they all make sense and they converge so that they don't feel like distractions, but really well thought out storylines that play up the drama for maximum effect. And if you love to hate on a few characters, you'll really get to hate on them now. Now there was one though that I was a bit bummed at how the resolution came about because I was wishing for something just a bit more. Now if I wanted to nitpick, there is a climactic scene in the last episode where time and distance play a factor. There's no way certain characters would have been able to cover a distance in a period of time before certain things happened, and yet they were able to in order to make the story have the conclusion that it needs. Honestly, while I noticed it, it didn't bother me in the slightest. I mean, I know it's a minor story convenience, but the scene was so exciting that I just wasn't concerned. The costume and set design still continued to impress me. Now, there are a few times where it looks like a green screen is employed, like maybe when characters are on a ship or climbing a mountain, but aside from that, the settings are gorgeous in a dirty and freezing cold sort of way. I really think this is a great ending to the series, but I'm also excited to see what the movie's going to bring. I mean, is it going to pick up where this leaves off, or maybe show us a decade or two into the future to see how all of Uhtred's accomplishments play out? I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. Hopefully not too long, though. But overall, for Season 5 of The Last Kingdom, I was engrossed in the world of Uhtred, son of Uhtred, and loved how his climax plays out. The storytelling in this season is tense and captivating, weaving many different storylines together in a cohesive way that wraps up narratives that have been building while giving us new arcs that are just as satisfying. The action is incredible, and it's made to be immersive through the camera work that throws caution to the wind and places us right into the midst of battle. I love the redemption arcs also that some of our characters get to experience, while others have their rightful judgment come to pass. And you'll probably need to have a box of tissues near you, as some scenes are just going to break your heart. There's sex, nudity, a lot of profanity, and almost never-ending bloody violence. I give Season 5 of The Last Kingdom 4.5 out of 5 couches. So what's been your favorite season of the show? Now, I've really enjoyed them all, but I think Season 3 might be my favorite just because of how dark the story gets. I'm not sure, though. And let me know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.